Hello and welcome back to the all new, all different number one comics podcast. We've got another bonus episode for you guys. Of course, everybody couldn't wait between episode 34 and 35, of course. Just too much downtime there to not talk about comics. So you've got me, Dan, and we've got a new member of the all new, all different nation on the line. Benny, welcome on. Thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate having you here. I don't know. I mean, I hate to put you on the spot, but say something cool about yourself. Who are you?
Hey, Benny here. Long-time comic nerd.
Awesome.
I grew up with a bunch of comics on the floor of my bedroom, and I never really stopped reading.
Heck yeah.
Big fan of all forms of media, but comics in general I have a soft spot for.
Yeah, likewise. There's something like, or rather, there's nothing like just holding a floppy in your hand and turning those pages and kind of getting that cliffhanger reveal and everything. Especially, this book does that and everything. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of just having a comic book in my hands. I absolutely love it. I'm with you. They've been around me my whole life. Back when I was like, a little tiny kid reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics
Nice.
Yeah, all the way to like, the horror indie and stuff that I read now. But yeah, I'm with you. I really like it's super comforting having comics around. And now that, comics are super mainstream and everything, like it's almost like we don't even have to call ourselves nerds anymore. It's so accepted. Everybody knows the MCU. You have like the coolest people at high school and stuff talking about the Avengers. So I don't feel as nerdy anymore. I know
the movies have definitely helped with that. A lot less acceptable to just push a comic nerd into a locker nowadays.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like, wait a second, that guy might have like a really pricey collection. Don't beat him up too bad,
He might lead us to treasure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If we're his friend, he might give us a copy of Ultimate Fallout 4 one day. So, yeah, really, really cool stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to have you on the line. These bonus episodes have been a lot of fun. The last two I did with Nick, and now having you on the line, really excited about that. I'm really hoping to, make it a regular thing, throwing bonuses out there, having like a panel of people to talk about these issues and everything would be really, really cool. So very excited.
Great to interact with the community and everyone.
Yes, exactly. There's almost nothing like being able to talk about comics with other people. It's one thing to, go into the comic book shop and kind of talk with the, person running the register or the comic book shop owner or whatever about what came out and stuff like that. But to be able to really kind of sit down and break them apart and talk about what makes them work and not work and all that is a lot of fun. And I really enjoy doing it and look forward to it every single time I'm able to. So yeah, I can't thank you enough for coming on and joining me today. But today we're going to be talking about the Immortal Thor #1, a book that, just recently dropped. And of course I think, we're going for the Immortal Hulk type treatment that Al Ewing did. So we're going with another Immortal treatment of another Marvel character. What are your thoughts there? Like, did you read Immortal Hulk or any of it? Like, are you familiar with it?
Actually, Immortal Hulk was kind of what got me back into Marvel Comics. I felt there was a bit of a stagnation for a while, story-wise, but Immortal Thor completely blew it out of the water and got me really hooked and really invested in the character. I'm hoping Thor is going to get the same treatment. From what I've read so far, I'm eager to see what's next.
Yeah, likewise. And I've heard so many people say that. Like I watched, a few like YouTube videos and stuff like that, people talking about this book and then Immortal Hulk and everything and other podcasts and all of that and friends. But a lot of people are saying that, that Immortal Hulk run really either brought them back in or made them think like, how can anything really be better than this? But I'm really digging it. I really like the Immortal treatment that Al Ewing's giving over there. And Al Ewing is like an encyclopedia for Marvel knowledge. Like
he's getting pretty up there for one of my favorite modern authors. He's been covering a bunch of Marvel the last couple of years.
Yeah, some really outstanding stuff. That's just super, super impressive. I would personally love to see this. This is really early, so of course, let me not get ahead of myself because we're just starting out with this Immortal Thor book, but I'd love to see, different takes on immortal other characters, throughout the Marvel Universe, the 616. I think that would be really cool. Kind of like, I don't know if you remember, it's been quite a few years back now, but when they were doing like the Marvel The End storylines, like for each one of the characters, like Hulk The End and all of that. Like,
yeah, and
I'd
this
love to see
Immortal
that.
is a nice sequel to all of those, kind of picking up where a lot of them are leaving off.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of characters do you want to see get the Immortal treatment in the future?
I can't lie. I'm pretty off the wall. So like, I love the Marvel horror stuff. Like, I'm a huge fan of that. I think
Yeah,
that
the
it would
spooky
be,
side.
yeah, I think that it would be really, really cool to see like an Immortal Man thing. I think that would be really
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
that would
Yeah,
be pretty rad.
yeah, something really cool and just unique. And I think that that's one of my favorite characters. So I'm obviously very biased here, but we don't see enough Man Thing out there on the stands. Like, just a little while ago, we had that X-Men Curse of the Man Thing story brought in, and that was cool. And before that, I can't even think. It seems like the last thing before that was like the R.L. Stein Man Thing, which was a stretch, but but fun
He was in
nonetheless.
the MCU recently, I remember,
Yes,
for one of
yes.
the specials, which was nice to see him kind of in motion and stuff.
Yeah, that Werewolf by Night special was super cool, and Ted in there. I don't know if you saw. I picked this up a couple of weeks ago. They
Ooh.
came out with a Ted Funko Pop, like a oversized Ted Funko Pop Man Thing.
Oh, kind of grayscale too. That's
Yeah,
nice.
exactly. It looks so cool. Yeah, it matches like the black and white and all of that of the special. But yeah, really, really outstanding stuff. So that's my pick. So what about you? If you had anybody else for the Immortal treatment for Al Ewing to dip into, is there another character you could think of you'd like to see?
Ooh, this is a little weird, but
Mhm.
I would be down for like an Immortal Squirrel Girl if it's
God, that'd
possible.
be so
Just
cool.
to see where that story would go would be phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I actually really like Squirrel Girl. I think it's a really fun character. Of course, like a really not underdog, but look, I mean, at a certain point, she beat Thanos. So just a really, really cool character, kind of off the wall and a lot of fun. But yeah, I think that would be really, really cool. Hopefully, Al Ewing's listening and will pitch some of these ideas to Marvel.
Always praying, yeah.
Yeah, maybe throw some one shots out there. Who cares? But they're doing the What If Dark now. I mean, why not Immortal one shots or something? That could be
Yeah.
super, super cool. But I think that kind of goes into Al Ewing and the way that Al Ewing writes. Like, it's such a long play, and instead of, I don't think that you could really do this in one shots. I think that
It's definitely made for long form storytelling over the course of like a year, multiple years.
yeah, exactly. That I was so scared when the Immortal Hulk run was coming out that it was just going to end, that it wasn't going to last very long, but it was so well received. I don't know if it got extended or if that was the plan all along to have it run as long as it did. But yeah, just really phenomenal storytelling. And this is setting up that same thing. Like, it's setting up a lot here. How about we talk about the creators just a little bit? We mentioned Al
Yes.
Ewing and how we're both a fan of Al Ewing, but Al.
Just right off the bat, right as you pick up the book, you can see that the cover page is done by Alex Ross.
Yep.
One of his paintings. I love his art. I've always been in love with just how it flows and shines. And this one definitely doesn't disappoint, with Thor in a wonderful pose coming down.
Yep. Yeah. Alex Ross, really, really phenomenal creator there. Really, really good. How about, what Al Ewing's done in the past? We talked about Immortal Hulk. Of course, before that, Al Ewing's like British, I believe, and he was working on 2000 AD for like a long time. That was like something. Yeah, he did a lot of, and then Judge Dredd and stuff like that. But of course, moving over to Marvel, Al Ewing did a lot of stuff on Guardians of the Galaxy, did a Loki series, X-Men Red, Venom, New Avengers. I don't know if you read the Boom Studios We Only Find Them When They're Dead book, but
I haven't.
Yeah, that's such a cool book, and you could see a little tiny bit of that bleed over into this, but I won't give anything away. But yeah, just some really high concepts and big god stuff and planets and all that. But yeah, just Al Ewing's worked on a lot of really cool stuff over at Marvel. I mean, kind of at this point, any Marvel character you can think of, Al Ewing's touched in some way. So
yeah, he's got a pretty big umbrella over Marvel at the moment, which is pretty cool to see all his different takes on different characters.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just really excited to see him dip into Thor here. And then for the illustration, I'm gonna butcher this name. I told you off air I can't pronounce anything, so I'm gonna go with Martin Kokolo. I have no idea if that's correct. Yeah. There's an accent over the O. I don't know what that means, but if you're listening, Martin, sorry if I butchered your name, but come on the podcast and teach us how to say it. That's what I always invite all the creators to do. We do creator interviews each and every episode that we can. So we just had Erica Schultz on for the last episode proper, so that was really cool. And nice. I basically do this so they can teach me how to say their names. So, come on.
Great way to. Yeah, just invite them over to hang out and then you get them.
Yeah, exactly. So, teach me how to say your name, Martin. But yeah, Martin's worked on Green Lantern over at DC Comics, Deadpool at Marvel, Sinestro at DC, X-Men, Thor, Magic the Gathering. So Martin's already done some stuff on Thor, and you can definitely tell. I mean, this is like a seasoned artist here who really knows what they're doing. We've also
doing some current Deadpool, Doctor Strange, a bunch of the Magic the Gathering comics I saw. Yes. That was like a good chunk of his credentials.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense. Like getting to that, Magic the Gathering, high fantasy type of stuff that works really well, like with the world building of Thor and everything. Really, really impressive stuff over there. I just want to mention the colors and letters really quick. We don't have to go into their histories or anything, but colorist is Matt Wilson and letters by Joe Sapino. So just wanted to throw their credit out. But
couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, definitely. Look, this wouldn't look as great or read as great without the letters or the colors here. So happy about that. But yeah, look, Benny, let's get into this book then. This is this is a huge concept here. I think that I'm going to struggle to even really break it down or explain it. And I did say to you off air, I didn't even write a synopsis for this one, which is something I always do because it was just too big of a feat. So I didn't think that I could really do it. But I think to just, break it down for anyone who hasn't read it yet, if we could just go over really, really briefly, a quick synopsis off the dome. This is basically Thor fighting off some frost giants, and then Loki shows up with, this magic staff that will restore the Rainbow Bridge, and Loki vanishes, and Thor uses the bridge to return to Earth, and then a big storm happens, and the Utgard Thor comes to really kind of shake up the whole thing. So that's really in the simplest form, that's kind of what happens here, but a lot more happens here. So, I mean, what did you think about this concept and everything? And please, if you have anything additional to say about it that I left out, because I left a lot out, go ahead.
It is a really big issue to start off. I think around 40 pages. So big starter issue to start the series off. But that was the main thing of it. There are around 4 scenes, I think, with the giants at the beginning, then Thor talking with a bunch of Midgardians, and also talking with their sibling Loki. And then at the very end, we got people in the shadows scheming, which is always a good way to end off a book.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite things in this was at the start with the ice giants. Thor tries the intimidation tactic, but not on the actual giants, on the storm that's hovering over them. And it works. Thor scares a storm away.
Yeah, I love that part too. I was really, I think, you open the book up and it starts with, a lot of comic books start, with a quote from something or a passage from something. And I don't know exactly what this quote or passage is from. And I'm not going to sit here and try to read it because it's got, some funky words and stuff that I can't pronounce. But it's basically a Viking poem or something like that. I don't know. It's something to do with Thor world, but
very thematic. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But the book kind of opens with the Utgard Thor, in the shadows there. It's got a preview of that. and then it shows the frost giants. It's got the Warriors 4, up there trying to see what's going to happen, and then Thor swings into action with his hammer and confronts the frost giants, and like you said, doesn't really say much to them. He really is talking to his unfaithful servant, which is the storm, which is, it's super funny. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to kind of laugh like whenever I opened this book up, but that was really funny. I liked it a lot. And then, it kind of intimidates that storm, and then, basically gets rid of the frost giants. And then
they immediately start melting when it goes away.
Yeah. and then, they just run away. They're like, we got to get the hell out of here. This isn't good. And then, we're introduced to Loki, and I don't know if you're following Thor or the Loki miniseries that's been going on or anything like that. I'm a little unfamiliar, but I know that Loki is like very gender fluid now. And that comes across in this, definitely.
The last couple of years, especially, it seems that's been increased just across all media that include Loki, and I'm all for it.
Me too.
I mean, cool to see that type of inclusion for such a major character, and very good that his family is so accepting as well. Thor never really seems stumped by Loki's fluidity, which is nice to see from brother.
Yeah, and that's one thing I always like to point out, and I'll make a joke here, but like on the regular feed, like on the normal episodes, a non-bonus episode that I do with my co-host Bob, we always, like, Bob and I are very politically aligned, and I'll go ahead and say it here. We're both very, very liberal, so but we like to shy away from politics as much as possible. As to, we're talking about comics, so we don't want to turn people off or whatever. But like, it's inclusion is very, very important to us. It's a staple in comics, and it always has been, and it always should be. It's very important to include everybody and support everybody for what they decide to do or whatever. And I completely agree. But there is this faction in comics for some odd reason. You have these hateful people out there, and that exists in any kind of group or whatever. But I'm I don't put up with that. I'm not about that. I hate that. And inclusion is very, very important to me. And I love that Marvel doesn't shy away from that at all. And DC really hasn't either. They've both been very, very supportive of the LGBT plus community. And I think that that's awesome. And I'm a huge supporter of that as well. So hell yeah. Props to Marvel, props to, whoever develop the gender fluidity and Loki, and props to Al Ewing for continuing that on here. But I did just want to point that out. I think that that's important for people to know. Hell yeah, Marvel, keep that up. I don't want to see it's not the 1960s or 1970s anymore. Like, it's not just like old white dudes. Like, everybody else exists.
Yeah, don't want to just see the same people fighting every issue or talking every issue. There's so much variety in everyone now, and it's really great to see a main character just take one of those identities and be very confident in how out they are. Loki, of course, is shifty as always.
Loki's Loki. Loki's gonna Loki. Yep.
Gonna Loki, yeah. That staff you mentioned earlier turns out to just be a piece of driftwood, I believe they mentioned. So I'm not sure
I love that.
But Loki was able to fix the Bifrost somehow, and then immediately pulled a Batman and dipped when people weren't looking.
Yeah, and I think from digging into other people's synopsis and reviews of the book or whatever, I think that the way that happens here is by Loki being that trickster and then saying, I'm going to use this as a means to tell a story. And does that make the story true? And that's what happened. Like, is this a magic staff? I mean, I'm going to use my trickster, energy or whatever to make that a magic staff. So
yeah, Loki's got a new title now as well. The God and Goddess of Stories, which is a bit of an upgrade from Trickster God.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, by telling those stories, like, you're the god of the storytelling. Really, I don't know, really cool, really different look here, and just really, I like that a lot. And whenever we get the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge, back and everything, that it's not really a double page. It's like a page and a half spread or something. But yeah, we get that, and then we get a couple of panels of Thor, and then a close up on Loki, and really that subtitle of Loki looking a little bit disappointed and saying no magic is without a cost. So that definitely kind of sets up what the rest of what's going on here and everything, and what's to come. But yeah, that kind of classic back and forth with Thor and Loki that you think by now Thor would just be like, look, you're like, we're related, we're siblings here, and I love you and everything, but I can't listen to a single word you say. Like, I can't trust you. You would think
that's
that
one
by
of
now. But
that's one of Thor's oldest flaws, that he's
yes.
too trusting of Loki in particular, and
Yep.
Not sure if he'll ever be able to get over that one.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I love the way that bleeds over, and I love you look at the MCU, you look at Loki and Thor presented by the actors in the MCU and everything, and that comes across really well, and then it's intensified, and now on the page and everything, that's a huge staple in their relationship. Just every one of these stories would have been so much shorter if Thor was just like, I'm not going to fall for that again. But thankfully Thor does, so we get a cool story out of it. But yeah, like we were just talking about, that Rainbow Bridge is rebuilt by Loki's magical staff there, and then Thor is off to Midgard, and off to Earth, and then doing all the. I love this scene too. There's another double page spread of Thor flying through, and
this is definitely my favorite part of the comic book. Him touching ground on Earth and just hanging out with a bunch of civilians, not as a god, but as a friend and as a hero.
Yeah, and it's what you would expect. Thor lands on Earth, everyone's cheering, everybody's happy for Thor and asking for autographs and taking selfies with him and everything. So I really like that. And then we kind of get into, Thor here, playing chess out in the park. Super, super cool. I love it. I
love a good New York chess game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's always a lot of fun. And to see Thor in that role is something, a little different. What about this scene here? We've got a panel of Thor just, sitting back with like a group of people, like kind of partying. He's cracking open a soda of all things. Like
I wrote in my notes soda in quotations because I do not believe for a second that he's parodying just drinking some sugary drinks. That's for sure a brew of some sort.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, maybe Thor doesn't want people to know he's drinking beer, so he put like a soda label around the can so no one would ask any questions. But yeah, I mean, come on, Thor, it's Thor. You got to be like sitting around drinking and all of that. But I love that panel a lot. It's a lot of fun. He's with a cool group of they look like they're like, college kids or something, just kind of hanging out, and he's partying it up with them.
Yeah, it looks like a frat party or something.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a trans flag in the background, and one of my favorite things, the Cyclops was right.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that right now. I didn't notice it on my first read, but yeah, I love that. Absolutely. So cool. And then from there, it kind of goes like a different direction. Thor is like, I want a place to be alone or whatever, and just kind of flies off, and then
brooding time.
Yeah, exactly. And of all places, just goes on the top of the Statue of Liberty on Lady Liberty's head there to kind of relax and be alone for a minute, which is very, very cool. And then that storm comes, and that's where, a storm that, Thor can't control. Thor didn't command, and it's from the Utgard Thor. So
he's struck by a massive bolt of lightning, which actually destroys the Statue of Liberty.
Such a cool,
all the superheroes
cool panel. Yeah, I know. Yeah, where's everybody gonna hang out now? But where's the next Spider-Man fight gonna be now? But but yeah, I love this double page spread here. It's so dark and stormy and everything, and the waters are just like raging underneath it. And then that Statue of Liberty is just struck and like cracks to pieces, just torn apart. It's such a powerful panel. And then we get over to, there's a few more panels on the opposite page. And then we get our big reveal of this Thor. And again, help me with the name if you can, but Thornos, is that how we're supposed to say the name of that character?
Taurinus, the
Taurinus?
alter
Okay.
ego Thor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But we get that little reveal of him, kind of behind the storm, like in the shadows, like peeking out, and he's got like the single red eye and all of that.
A
And
big
Thor
wheel.
yeah, exactly. And Thor's like, super small in comparison on the foreground there, and just I don't know. I can't tell if that's my favorite spread or if the spread right before it, where the Statue of Liberty's cracked, is my favorite. But they're both so good and such powerful panels there. Just really outstanding.
Shout out to Merchant Kokolo. It seems like his two strengths are spreads and facial expressions. At least to me, he's really good with both of those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm with you on the facial expressions, because there are some facial expressions in this book that really kind of tell the story. And I love that Al Ewing is able to, I'm not going to lie, there's like a good amount of dialogue in this book. This is like a read, but it's not a boring read by any means. It's a very entertaining read, and like it's a page turner, but there's a good amount of dialogue, not so much exposition dumps, but dialogue. But Al Ewing is really, really good at letting the artist tell the story through their art and leaning back, so the artist can, kind of come front and center. And yeah, with those facial expressions that Martin cooks up here, like just, yeah, it really tells the story.
Thor in particular has a really warm smile that I think is really important to his character.
It's such a cool contrast to kind of what's going on in the book. And then it fits too. So yeah, really, really fun stuff. Now, the next page that we turn to after that single page reveal of Taurinos, I don't know, whatever the character's name is with the wheel there, the Utgard Thor. We get a double page spread of the character, a little bit more focused and more, in our face and everything. And he's holding this big lightning bolt with one hand and then the wheel with the other. And that's just, it's a terrifying, look here. Like that character is like, it's going to haunt my nightmares tonight.
Very menacing. And he's made out of the torrenting wind.
Yep.
Which is maybe that's where he gets his name, Taurinos.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. And that eye, just that piercing, single eye there. You turn to the next page and get another double page spread. And I mean, that's terrifying. This just, he's yelling out, telling Thor his name and telling him who he is. And then we get a caption at the bottom of towards the middle of the page that says, "And then did mighty Thor know fear?" and
I did too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not going to be able to shut my eyes and not see this. I mean, it's just piercing. But yeah, that character is just, like you said, very, very menacing, very, very scary. And then we go through and kind of see, panels of destruction, and we see Thor, kind of set up for battle and trying to summon the power of, the All-Father and everything to defeat Taurinos there. And yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to go so well. It doesn't look like it's going to go so easy for Thor once we get towards the end of the book there. So,
and we should mention that at this point, it seems the status quo is that Thor is in charge of Asgard, King of Asgard, and has the All-Father's power.
Yep.
So he's pretty beefed up at the moment and still taking a beating.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Looks like, he's definitely going to be taking a beating. If I could imagine myself. Now the end of this book, like we get, I don't know, another 3 pages, basically. Yeah. There's another 3 pages here, and it's all kind of happening in the shadows and everything. And it's, it gives a little tiny bit of exposition here, but looks like Thor's going to be, definitely tested here. Definitely, there's a lot more to come. Yeah, like if you thought Thor was being put through hell towards the end of this book, it looks like it hasn't even begun yet. So, a big cliffhanger. This ends at the perfect spot, and like you said, it's kind of like a double-sized issue for the most part. There's a big bulk of issue here. I think it's like a $7 cover price, $6.99 cover price, and it's worth every penny. I mean, there's a lot jam-packed in here, but yeah, it looks a little looks a little terrifying. I won't spoil the final page, but just know that
it's a one to remember.
Yeah, exactly. There's a good amount going on there, and then we get the preview for the next issue, and it's got that Alex Ross art to it, and holy shit, like I'm stressed out just looking at that because
I'm hoping he does a lot of the covers for this series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hopefully he is the cover artist for this series because yeah, it fits very very well, and just yeah, it's terrifying. From that we get like a 1-page. This is out of the continuity of this story, but we get a 1-page preview of like the Gods event that's coming, which is I wasn't expecting that. I don't know. Yeah, it does say it in the on the cover of the book there. It's got the little "Who Are the Gods" logo on it. I wasn't sure that we were going to get this 1-page reveal. And again, we don't have to talk about that, but just know that is in there. So that's coming, and that's.
I think it's going. That's going to be the next big event. I think the Gods with dot between each letter.
Yep.
And Thor's probably going to be super involved because I mean, hey, if you're gonna go messing with gods, he'll be there.
Yeah, Thor would be a wonderful player in the God storyline there. So yeah, agreed with you. But yeah, just breaking this thing down, the way we talked about Al Ewing's storytelling and then Martin Cuccolo's artwork on this, like, in my opinion, such a great team up. Like, I want to see these guys continue to work together. I want to see them on some other projects and stuff too. They work really, really well together. And like I said, Al Ewing is great at telling a big bulk of the story, but laying back enough to let the artist tell part of the story too, tell their part. I think it's an outstanding team up. Really, really looking forward to see what they do with the series.
Yeah, they definitely complement each other. I want to go check out some of Martin Cuccolo's Magic comics just because I'm a huge fantasy buff, so I want to see what his take on wizards and deep dark woods and all that is like.
Yeah, I can only imagine, if this is a preview of some of that it's going to be really, really great and something to really see. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going to have to dig back. I'm sure I have some of those issues. So I pick up almost everything. So I'll have to dig through some long boxes and see if I can find them. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Definitely, something that is really impressive. Something that, just really, really good artwork. Martin wasn't really on my radar. I mean, I know his name, but of course,
I hadn't even heard of him before. But I'm excited to see what else he's going to come out with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what he does with Torinos, if that name is correct, there in the book, just, man, I can't say enough good stuff about him. Really, really excited about that. Really excited about the future of this book and Thor, Immortal Thor and everything. And yeah, this is an A+ for me. I think this is a wonderful book. Usually what we do on the podcast is we let our listeners know if they should continue on to issue number 2. We always talk about a first issue and then say, hey, should you add this to your pull list? Should you, go hit up your comic book shop and let them know to put you on Immortal Thor? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, from me, hell yeah, definitely. I'm going to assume you think the same thing, but I'll let you say it in your words. Yeah.
Everyone, go out and pick up the first couple issues if you are into Marvel. And just if you're into stories in general, since stories seems to be like it's going to be the big theme of this arc for Thor. Like for Hulk, a lot of it was personality disorder and kind of trying to find who you are and whatnot. And this one seems to be the effective stories and how they can maybe be bad, because it seems Thor has some trouble ahead for him.
Yeah, I'm a little scared. I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully Thor comes out okay, but I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, I'm with you. This was an outstanding book. Really, really crafted very, very well by the creative team here, and I'm happy that we have another stab at the Immortal thing with another Marvel character. Maybe we'll keep it coming Avengers style. Maybe next we'll get a Immortal Captain America or something. But yeah, I look forward to the future of this book for the time being, and then whatever happens next. But really, really cool stuff. Benny and I strongly suggest you hit up your local comic book shop and add this to your pool, or get it on your Marvel Unlimited, or however you read comics. But yeah, definitely support this book, and really excited about the future of it. And I think that's it, unless you have anything else you want to say about the book, Benny, or anything else you want to say.
Yeah. Just while you're out and going, definitely go support your local comic book store. They can definitely use all the help. And while you're there, strike up a conversation with another fan. You might make a new friend.
Yeah, exactly. There's kind of nothing like, sitting around and talking about comic books with somebody. A lot of us don't have, a lot of times you're able to, sit around with family members or spouses or children or whatever and talk to them about your day or something you guys are both interested in or whatever. But it's not a lot of times you're able to talk with those people that you see on a regular basis about comic books. And it's very cathartic to be able to sit there and something that's very important to you or whatever and talk about with somebody else. So yeah, strike up those conversations.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're really cool, really important. And hell, who knows what you'll get out of it. You might sit down with somebody else and talk about some of your ideas. They might be an artist. You guys might get your own comic book going. Anything could happen. The sky's the limit. But yeah, you won't get there if you don't
just
talk
remember,
about it first.
Just remember, nerds are a bit like coyotes. They're more scared of you than you are of them. So just take it easy and you can approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Daniel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much for joining me today. And we'll see you guys on the next bonus episode. Don't forget to use that hashtag #AllNewAllDifferentNation on a social media post of your choice to be entered in a giveaway for a free comic book. And this week, we'll be giving away the Immortal Thor #1. So what a week to use that hashtag. So make sure you guys use that. And again, thank you so much, Benny, for joining me today. And I'll catch you next time.
Yeah, anytime. See you.